brought to you by the feeling that this maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Uh Maybe this is it. And now, here's a song. You are here and so am I. Maybe millions of people go by, but they all disappear from you. And now, here they are, your invenerable hosts, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. Hey, everybody. What's going on with it? Hope you're well today, if you can be. Hope you're doing good. Oh, boy. You may notice an orange hue on the set today. That's a new filter brought to you by the apocalypse. Today is Thursday, September the 10th, September the 1st. This is the about, give or take, 80th show, 75th or 80th show, and about the 26th that was meant to feature Esperanza Tervalon Garrett, CEO and founder of Dancing Hearts Consulting. Now, when I say was meant to, that's because she's not here. She's not going to be here today. She's not going to be here today. We decided together that it would be fun to instead continue the bit that I had begun after a little bit, talking about how Esperanza was going to be on the show and then not having her here, and that it would be funny to just keep doing that. It's so funny. And it may or may not also be allegedly because Oregon is on fire, and because she and the crew, my crew, her crew, scattered for safety because of the fires. And now there's the fires that are also why the set is a bit orangey today. You can look at the sun directly. It looks like the sun in Star Wars on Tatooine. Do you have a bevy? Oh boy. East to more coffee from cold coffee with a little bit of. Let's we'll get into that in a minute. So here's where we're at. This is what's going on outside of the house. I mean, it's hard to pretend that what's happening isn't happening. I don't know a better way to do it. I'm gonna hey, fun. Woo! We're gonna try some of that too. But also, that's what the trees look like right now. That's directly outside of me house. See how they're droopy like that. Those leaves aren't usually drupals like that, and I think it's that what they're breathing in. They don't mind the CO2. I think it is the because they need that. That's part of the photosynthesis process. But it also requires there being a sun, which is blocked, and also too. As with our lungs, not breathing smoke, which is what is in the breath of the in the stomata, going through the stromata into the thycaloids of the leaves of the trees now, and into the chlorophyll, which is why it looks droopsy and ooky like that now. I remember all of that from biology class, university, and yet and still I got a D. Hey, I'm not good at their tests. I'm not good at a bubby monkey. Bubble monkey. I was going to say bubble monkey because a monkey could fill out a bubble test. Used to be a thing I used to say to make myself feel better about being bad at it and only being a good essayist and only good with me words. Don't know if you can tell, but my voice is a little bit deeper than it normally is. I can hear it. And the reason is because I'm Batman. The reason is because I am vengeance. The reason is because I'm your father. Stop it. The reason is because there's so much smoke in the air. So much smoke in the air. How y'all doing today? Y'all doing okay? Do you have a plan? If you're in on the West Coast, do you have a plan? Do you have a place to go? I don't. I mean, east generally, but I do have a shout out to give to the good folks at Bloom. Right there, what I was smoking was just the air. I just picked up a nugget of air and I just shoved it in the bong and smoked that. But I did top it with a little bit of blueberry muffin from our folks at Bloom dispensary here in Portland, Oregon, where smoke is everywhere. That's how I know I'm old, because I snap when I dance like that. That's like an age thing. Also, my beard is white. Also, that I would dance like that. I think that that's a song. It is wild to me that even in this poopsies that we're in. Oh no, did I delete it? I wanted to share something with you that I don't know if I can. It's not that. I think I may have deleted it. You know what? There's a way we can do it though. Watch this. Watch this. I can show you. I know what it is. Look at what's still happening. This is what the smoke is doing, right? Okay, this is the leaves and what's happening in the lungs and all the stuff. Everything is covered in a nice film of residue and ash. And yet there are people on the streets of Portland out having num-nums in the ash, acting as though what's happening isn't happening. And I know there's a level of denial that to which we all have to hold. You know, we have to hold on to that level of denial, because if we're not holding on to it, we're going to lose our collective minds. I do think it's important that you find treats for yourself. I do think it's important that you find comfort for yourself. I do think it's important that you make good choices too, and that you not deliberately go out and do to yourself what is being done to these trees because of what we've done to the planet. That just seems like a poor choice. And I make fun, I tease, but I tease because I worry. Evidently, the air here today is on par with Indonesia. And right now, also San Francisco, both of whom have air that is more fucked up than Portland. I do understand that there are floods in D.C. and Maryland and all along the East Coast. So Pick your poison, I guess. Um, Pick your poison, I guess. It's coming to get us all. It's coming to get us all. It's coming to get us all. Yeah, no, that is exactly the fucked up shit of it, is it not? Is it not? They are going to bring those toxins into their homes and into their bellies. Yesterday, I saw the wind was so high that it also blew off a an umbrella that under which they were sitting, I guess, to keep themselves from the ash. But the ash is in the air, right? Like it's like when there's an oil spill off the coast of Mexico, and except that we're the fish. We're the fishies, and we're beautiful fishies. But once the oil's in the water, it's in everything until you get some dawn. And there's not enough dawn in the world to clean out this air right now. Not without presidential leadership, which evidently we're not going to have any of. You saw me lift my fork already, so I'm not going to pretend I didn't, because I am gonna have a bit of comfort. I have a pound cake. Speaking of things that should bring you comfort, pound cake. Guess what? I'm not doing. I'm not eating this outside. I'm not opening my mouth hole to gobble up the combination of Rona and burnt wood, and of course, here in Portland, there is also in the air for people who had been exercising their free speech rights, and thanks to the bag of hate and jizz who's pretending to be president, in the air, there is also the neurotoxins associated with the tear gas. I could taste it in my throat earlier. It was peppery. I figure that the pound cake is what's gonna ease some of the pepper. It's gonna ease some of the pepper. You got to do it. You got to do it again if you have the means, whether that is sugar and flour, butter, eggs, and the will and the patience to do it, or you're willing to drop a couple of 20s to get yourself a pound cake. I suggest you do it. I am still going to try to exercise, but as you may be able to tell, what I am trying to do is to keep catching my breath, cause the air is there's a word, thick. The air is thick. The air is thick in Portland. Shit. This morning, I thought perhaps, I'm a bit of news junkie. I thought perhaps I would tune into news and see what the nation has to say about the fact that the entire West Coast is engulfed in flame. I keep saying this as though it matters to anyone who doesn't live here, but it seems not to. Everything from San Diego, and I'm going to assume that this is happening all the way down through Tijuana, all the way up through Canada, that is on your West Coast, is on fucking fire. Like everything. 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 And meanwhile, there's like jackass, like middle class. There's no middle class here. You're poor. We're all poor. We are cattle. We are fodder. White man mowing lawns. White men mowing lawns. With their electric lawn mowers in the ash and the dry, with their electric lawn mowers. That's gonna cause more fires. That's gonna cause more death. Because I don't know. I'm beginning to really truly believe that whiteness is a death cult. Ooh, yummo. Oh, mini almond cake. Are you smoking and eating mini almond cake, Sean? I hope you are. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. Mm. For those with the mesothelioma, I don't know. Is that the thing where you don't like to hear people drink and eat and stuff like that? Is that right? Or did I name some kind of a cancer? I don't know. But either way, if you don't like hearing the smacking and the eating and the munching and the mushing, this probably you don't want to be here today. I don't blame you. I don't blame you, boo boo. In fact, the whole West Coast is on timeout. If you can't be someplace right now, if you don't want to be someplace right now, fuck it. Fuck it. Don't. Don't. Drew forgiven. Drew are 100% forgiven. Wow, that was hack. I just slid into a weird accent that was hack and a little bit xenophobic, and I don't know where it came from. I do know where it came from. It came from because I grew up in comedy, and that in the 80s was when I was really forming my ideas about what was funny. That was so funny. That was so funny to speak with an accent that was not your own, or it was your own in terms of your lineage. It belonged to your parents, because white people loved laughing at anything that was not them. Oh, you're different than me. Which is how you get like the black people drive like this, but white people drive like this. And the observation therein for white people being the majority audiences for some such as, and the black audiences too, is recognition, right? And the recognition that you are seen, right, and witnessed. And white people often feel like you are not being witnessed, or we don't see you, because it is just assumed that you are the standard, and so somehow you have secret invisibility. You don't. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. You really don't. We're gonna have to be a little bit careful. I don't know if I have. I did not do my coffee to cake equation. I didn't do the math, and so I'm a little heavy on the cake side. That's not where you want to be. Not where I want to be. I have to match that with the coffee. Um. So I did turn on the news, and I did think, well, perhaps by now, by the time of evacuations, by the time that we on this coast have a very clear sense of and in Oregon, are you stage 2 or 3 for evacuation? There was stage 1 too. I don't think anybody's at stage 1 anymore. We're taking that off. Stage 1 is meh. So nobody's anymore at just meh. Well, hold on, let me slow down. Not some people are definitely just like meh. But I really don't understand. I really don't understand. I mean, I do understand that we're going to have the population. Yes, I do. Like, that's about to happen. The eugenicist Nazi who is pretending to be president is literally suggesting that we should achieve herd immunity, which would mean that between 1 and I believe 2% of the population would die, which sounds really low when you say it like that. But then when you say the numbers, what we are talking about is millions of people. And it just seems like that's sort of what the plan is at this point, despite the. So this, okay, so first the AG came out, Bill Barr. And I was wondering, I was like, well, what's this guy going to talk about today? Maybe he's going to talk about why black people deserve to be hit with batons. Maybe he's going to talk about why it's okay for him as the attorney general to begin to represent the president in a civil case in which he is being brought to court for liable for calling a liar a woman who he raped. No, not his wife, a different woman who he raped. Who told this story you may remember in 2018, and then it got little press, and that was during a time that everyone went whenever he did anything. And so, or was he actually going to address the fact that the president had got up and said that he was aware that COVID is an airborne virus, and that rather than tell people what is happening so that we could make declarative choices for the health of a country, a nation in which I do not particularly believe, but I do live here, to protect our health and to not die. You know, things like acknowledging that it is here, and covering your mask whole when you're in public. Things that he insisted were, he said it was a Democratic hoax. So when we say, how did this get politicized? We must remember that the president of the United States, who had full knowledge that the COVID exists and is in the air, and that it's airborne, and that it's coming, and that it's global, and that it was going to be the biggest crisis of his administration, that this person, that his response to that was to say, hey, everyone, don't worry, it's under control. And you can just chill and everything's fine. And that's why everything's so fine right now. That's why everything's so dope right now. It's cool, but that's not what he did. He came out to say that the protesters are going to, and in particular in Chicago, somehow linked protesters and drug dealers, and was talking about basically just locking up all the niggers. That was pretty much the plan. That seemed to be pretty much what the plan was there. All the Chicago niggers, especially. That seemed to be the first, like, priority number one for Bill Barr. There is civil unrest because our racist president will not call off his Nazi cult. There is COVID because the president would not tell people to wear a fucking mask. And there is fire all over the West Coast because the president did not fund a way to control the fire, was using prison labor, who is now out of prison because COVID, which, of course, again, there was more of because the president made fucked up choices. And so that cut because no slave labor. And so then there's no, that you can't, that's half of so there's no one to fight the fires that last year he said would be fine if we, 3 years ago said it would be fine if we just would sweep the forest, because that process is called forestation. This pound cake is so fucking good. It's still moist. It's been here a week. It took days to get here, and it's still it's delicious. Tracy, if you're with us, can you throw up the link to where this pound cake is from? I want people to be able to get some. I know we shouted them out before, but I want to give them a shout out again. This is just too good. This is just too good. So that's what the Attorney General had to say after he said all those other junks. Today it was get the ones in Chicago, and he was backed up with a bunch of cops. There were a bunch of cops behind him, showing that que fuerte. I'm old enough to remember when Noriega decided that we all had to call him strongman. Which sounds like something that somebody who is at least as fey as myself would do in an attempt to show how strong they are in terms of the false masculinity and hypermasculinity. I was at a training one time, and I had said, what did I say? Oh, first of all, let's get the pound business their shout out one more time. I was talking about that's where you get the cake. Get the cake at Pound Business. It's right there. It's right there. Gosh. Right there. Those are maybe different things. All I see is the www. So my screen didn't change. But if you're in the feed at Facebook, you can see it there with more descriptor. YouTube people, you could go. Just I know fuck Facebook. I know. I hope you're YouTube people because you're trying not to give Zuck clicks, and maybe you have Facebook, but fuck them. But if you just for a second, if you go there for a second, you can see what both of those links are. Anyway, I was talking about masculinity at a gender presentation that I was doing, and I had talked about folks who are butch, and I may have said it very much like that, and it may have gotten a bit of a laugh, and that may not have been my goal, because I'm just like this. And if I were to declare that everybody had to call me strongman, could you serious? I'd just be okay from now on. Everybody has to call me strongman. You know, when I started to be referred to as auntie, I was asked by Ray, the person who's first did it, whether she could do it, and then I allowed her to do it. When I was first referred to as Brother Los, it was with love and affection by a dancer who had forgotten my last name and my first name and only remembered Los as she was introducing me, and had referred to every other drummer as Brother Farai Malianga, Brother Shata Mejia, and Brother Los, which is how that moniker was born. But no one ever in the history of anything ever has ever referred to me as like strongman, jefe. It's just not in my DNA. I got strongman. I got strongman's all up in my DNA. No, but Mr. Trump and his crew seem to be calling themselves the strongman. Anyway, so then about 20, 30 minutes later, Trump got out to talk too. And I was like, oh, good. Here we go. We're going to hear something about the fires. We're going to hear something about some safety measures. We're going to hear something about the national disaster. No, not that one. The other one. We're no, not the COVID. I'm not. No, 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 no. Not the cops rioting and hurting and killing protesters and beating them. No, 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 I'm not talking about that one either. The other national emergency, the West Coast being entirely on fire. Remember, I was talking about that one. And I figured now that most of us are in evac stage 2, moving toward 3. By the way, 3 means get the fuck out. That we'd hear something from the president. Well, Mr. Man got out there to trumpet how Jared, the wooden son-in-law who wants to be a real boy, the one who is in a feud, a lover's feud with Trump over his daughter. That he somehow fixed the Middle East. He is having despots and gangsters from different countries who have been in very serious doo-doo for several hundred years because of colonialism, come to the table. Funny. Less than 50 days in preparation for the October surprise, somehow Donald Trump is framing himself to say that he has achieved peace in the Middle East. And then he's going to follow that up by saying he's got a vaccine. First of all, please do not take Donald Trump's miracle China virus cure. I want to be clear. Every one of the big pharmacies has said they are not going to rush anything to market. That includes Pfizer. That includes all the big fucking ones that you've ever heard of. If you know anything about me at all, you know I have never been an advocate of big pharma. I am not a person out here like, hey, guess what? Let's all get with Bayer. Yay, Bayer. You know, that's not me. All right, that's not me. But I will say this. Even those motherfuckers are like, no, there's not going to be a fucking vaccine by October. So when Dr. Trump's miracle coronavirus China man cure shows up, please don't inject it. It is going to be a combination of I don't know, I guess bleach and his own jizz that has been held under a light and then put into a needle, a hypodermic needle. And I promise you they're going to try it on black people first because he loves black people the most. That's what he's going to, and he's going to say it's because I've done the most for black people ever in history since Abraham Lincoln, who, by the way, he is the only president in history who's ever had a harder time with the press than him. He's having a harder time with the press even than Lincoln, he said. Didn't say that today, but he did say that. Today, he just said he's going to fix the Middle East. Then, he was not prepared for the October surprise that was coming his way because then the first reporter, this is, no, you know what? Let's smoke some gelato. At a time, we're going to get a camera. So there's a situation where you can kind of see what's happening like down here. Because right now it feels very close and I feel a little for you to see, right? So for you to see what's happening at this level, this is sort of the situation, right? And that doesn't really get it. And so, look out. We're going to have to figure this out at a point. All right. What I was saying is that I'm gonna have a little gelato. And the first reporter says, after he says, and so we're going to fix the Middle East crisis. Fixed it up. And then the first reporter stands up and he says, thank you. Cause someone come applaud me. Time for you to applaud me and tell me I want to fly. And he was reading. You could tell he was reading. You could tell that all of the aides had like given him a very, 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 very clear script. And he followed it. He seemed to feel very sad to follow it. And then he, at a point, he stuck to it more or less, and he finished, and he was opening to questions, and this is when he went from that version that where he's playing the president, like the reality show president situation. He went from from that version to the real version very quickly when the first reporter got up and said, why did you lie to the American people instead of just telling them the truth? Now, this is based on the Woodward book that is forthcoming, wherein it is revealed that President Trump has known very well how the Rona travels. He knew that before it ever happened, and he could have insisted that we all start wearing masks before it ever landed. He could have done that. That would have saved some lives. Could have not shipped all the PPE over to China and other folk. Could have had it here for the hospitals here. We could be in a situation where we don't have the most cases of Rona. We could be like New Zealand or the Cherokee Nation, or any of the other folks who much of Wuhan, where this began, where they are back at amusement parks and shit, and not like this. It's orange. The sky was never orange under any other president. I'm just saying. Well, the president did not like that. He didn't like it. He wasn't with it. And he said, oh, that's a very ugly question. That's a very, very, very ugly question. How could you ask a question like that after all I've done? And then he starts with the rambles and the bambles and the this and that's. He gets asked the same or similar question. They try to follow up. Same or similar question 2-3 more times. He never gets to the softball question that he usually gets from AOL, from America Online. And what ended up happening instead is that he started spilling some beans about his plans for his second term. And what he said is that I'm going to provide health care for everybody, and schools are going to be free. We are actually going to provide $6,000 a month per household, regardless of family size. Families with 3 or more children, you will be getting $10,000 a month. This is going to happen until we have this cured. We will also be providing masks to the houseless and additional health care to them. The first testing will happen in the houseless population. Next will be in the essential workers. After that, there will be a household test that you'll be able to take as easily as you take your temperature. This will take up to 8 months. It's going to be very, very painful, but we will return. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't say any of that. Come on, you didn't even fall for it. You didn't believe any of that shit. No. What he said is that he had watched yesterday, between last night and today, 9 hours of television on Fox. He named the actual shows that he watched and said that the conspiracy that they were weaving throughout the day and night, into the next morning on Fox and Friends, until he got up to the podium to open his burger hole and spill out these fucking idiotic ideas that he, for his second term, was going to lock up President Obama, Hillary Clinton, the former AG, and he was going to do so because they had spied on him and committed, and I quote, treason, which, by the way, can be punishable by the death penalty. So that's what Captain No Chill's message was for what he plans to bring down for his second term. And then he ran away. It was just a room full of people going, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President. But Mr. President, why did you say that? But Mr. President, how come you're not saying the thing? And it's a wild, wild time because all of a sudden it's like all of the reporters found their spinal and testicular fortitude, as well as their ovarian fortitude and the fortitude of nobody who has either of those. Spinal, ovarian, testicular, and no genitalia having or both genitalia having fortitude. Wow, that was a lot. Are you really going to be doing that every time you use one of the old phrases? Well, the thing is, if we don't pay attention to the old phraseology, then we're going to end up just repeating mistakes from the past. Yeah, right. But people understand what you're saying. And I think by this point, you've earned the trust of folks to know that you're not trying to be some sort of weird homophobic asshole, right? But you were just pointing out the idea that sucker comes from the homophobic idea of saying cocksucker, and that was actually meant to be a negative for some reason. Like, who doesn't want their cock sucked? You're right. But the thing is, hey, y'all, we were just talking about something else. I'm doing fine. It's good. It's good because then the president ran away from the reporters who the last thing you heard as he left the room is, Mr. President, just take more questions. I guess the moral of the story. I don't know. I was going to say is that I can't breathe. The earth can't breathe. Black Lives Matter. Trans Black Lives Matter. That's the point of the story. That was the point of the story. The president's a liar. Vote. You don't have to vote for Biden, but you can vote against a Nazi, right? I know Biden's gross. Listen, before, up to, and through the time that he became the one, I have been hypercritical of Biden. Here's the thing. There's no air. I'm a little pissed about the way that the fucking president has decided he's just going to go ahead and tacitly kill us all. So maybe get off your shit and fucking vote. And also, please fill out your census if you would. If you would be so kind. Even if you don't have a house anymore. Even if you had a house yesterday and you don't have a house today. And maybe you're thinking about other things now. Like where you're going to live or if there will be any emergency relief provided to you and your family so that you can, live since the sky's on fire. Maybe if you have like 2 minutes, you could also fill out your census. All you need is your former zip code. Let's call it your current zip code. Let's call it your current zip code. Some of those redwoods survived. Your house probably did too. Okay. Well, It's Thursday. I guess I'll see you next week. Some of you, all of us. I hope I'll see you. I hope you'll see me. You know what? Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. No matter what the fuck happens between this week and next week, I will see you next week. If I get burnt to a tinder crisp, if to little just cinder ashes, and I into the wind, or I die from the smoke, or a cop, before now and between now and before Monday. Do you know what I'll do? I will haunt your fucking memories. That's what I'm gonna do. So either way, I'll see you on Monday. This has been another Smoke and Mirrors. Thank you so much for participating in whatever kind of thing this is, trying to get us all through the disaster. Hey, I don't know. You know the run. Listen, is this a thing you want to share with your friends? Go ahead and do it. If you're on the YouTube, do some YouTube things and smash buttons and such. If you want to support it, all those ways are free. If you want to put any cash on it, which, dear God, if you're trying to figure out how you're going to eat tomorrow, please don't. Please don't. Please apply it to you. Apply it to somebody who you know who is fucked out of their job and maybe their house burnt down or something. I don't know. But if you want to, go ahead and become a patron. The names that are scrolling over the screen, they did that. They're good people. I like them. They get a trading card with my face on it. That'll be useful in the fires. Ruthie, Erica, Amber, Aaron, Seth, Lisa, Kristen, Renice, Michael, Natalie, Juliet, Tarika, and Tracy are all holding that card, as are the folks who've been on the show. There's DJ Wildchild holding the card. She looked great. She looks fantastic. I love it. Let's give her a triangle. That means it's time to turn the page. Hey, if you want to look at the IG for Smoke and Mirrors, it's IG Smoke and Mirrors CCB. If you would like to read the words, some of the words that I say, 140 characters or less anyway, you could hit me at Twitter at Caballo Negrito. If you have an idea about what should be happening or what shouldn't be happening, or maybe this is just too much bullshit and you need to tell me cut it out, or am I getting help? Do you want to check on me? I'm fine. I have a therapist. I'm going to the darkest places to illustrate the point. You understand. But if you wanted to write and be real life friends, we could do that too. It's smokeandmirrorsccb at gmail.com. CCB for comedy, culture, and bullshit. This here bullshit is some bullshit that I produced. And hey, I even hosted it. My name is Carlos Kareem Wyndham. You know who else produced this? Holy shit, that was like the blackest fucking thing I could have said. Produced this? That was insane. I'm sticking with it. I'm not gonna be a fucking white supremacist around my own language uses. Yeah, usage is. The one who produced it, who just put that shit on the screen that y'all just seen, that's Tracy Tatamy. Doing the producing. Whew. It's a wild ride, y'all. Take care of yourself, would you please? And take care of each other. Wash your hands. For God's sake, stay inside. And if you, I don't know. If you do, don't go outside. Just don't go outside. Don't go outside. Not if you live on the West Coast. If you live anywhere else, I guess if you do go outside, wear a mask. I'll be back on Monday. Oh, God. I love you. Okay. There's the Twitter. All right.